Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Sammons, and in each episode we'll uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, I'm very excited to be joined by Scott Johnston, a future self coach and author, and the founder of Future Selfing, a framework and platform built around one powerful idea. When you clearly connect with your future self, your decisions in the present begin to change. Scott's work helps people move out of short-term thinking, self-sabotage, and reactive living and into long-term identity, intentional habits, and values-led action. His approach blends psychology, coaching, and practical tools to make future-focused living actionable, not abstract. Scott, welcome to Founders Future. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you. And I can't wait to speak to you and your listeners.
I'm very excited to have you here and I can't wait to have a chat as well. So let's dive into this. Let's jump in. With all of my guests, Scott, I do actually like to start at the beginning of their journey. So if you don't mind taking me back to what it was you was doing before you started up Future Selfing, and then from there, what was the motivation behind it?
Well, I kind of took a roundabout route to get here. I was a person that wasn't really connected to, meditation or breath work or spiritualism at all. I began as a software person, a software sales guy. But I knew basically I wanted to help people. That was still ingrained in me. And so I founded a SaaS-based software company. And we worked with fitness clubs around the world to get more people active and keep them, the retention of those people. Very successful company, global presence, high growth. However, there was some factors within the company that caused incredible amount of stress that was really unneeded because we were on a great trajectory and everything was going really well. But that stress caused actually addiction in me. And I thought I was the last person. I'm like a lot of your viewers, focused, driven, dependable, and I was a world-class athlete in CrossFit, at least for my age group. And, every morning getting up, getting things done, calendar full. And I thought I was the last person to fall into addiction. And really my path and how I got out of addiction without always using willpower and, those type of things, by actually reprogramming myself and figuring out the path. And that was my problem when I about to step away from the company, is I didn't know what path to take because a lot of the solutions didn't seem right for me. I'm not going to say I'm an addict, right? Yeah. Self-labeling, that type of thing. But at the same time is I wanted a platform for everyone, because everyone does have programming that they're kind of their subconscious. It's the computer system that's running you. And we're not really fully aware about how much power it has, even who we're attracted to, what we like to do, spend our free time. A lot of these things are pre-programmed, or if we like to escape, if we're feeling stressed, or we have a lot of caffeine because we need to do more. It's part of programming, part of the need for success even. A lot of very successful people, actually, it's a need more than a want. And that's where we want to find the balance.
I love it. So, and that's kind of where we lie now. So I'm assuming that helping people, having had that background, as you say, of being a CEO, being at the top, looking like you probably have everything, and just maybe feeling like you don't inside. So now role reversal on helping other people kind of achieve that same mission as you and just really feel clarity and purpose in their life, no matter what they're kind of going through.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a really simple example. And this is the most simplest example I can give you that I think will really resonate, because we always talk about the subconscious, the conscious mind, and how it works in business and that type of thing. And I coach a lot of executives that have no problems with addiction, but it's also execution, staying focused, staying calm. I have this beautiful, actually, 30-second, 60-second breath routine that a lot of my executive clients use just before phone calls, just to clear their head. What we're doing with this whole meditation, wellness, mindfulness, is we're doing a very simple thing. All we're really doing is creating space between action, and reaction. So we notice someone cuts us off or someone says something in a meeting, we all of a sudden go to our answers, or why is he saying that, this and that. And how many meetings have we walked out of? And especially founders. Let's say you're a founder and you're raising money and you're like nervous and everything else, and you come out of the meeting, you're like, why didn't I say this? Why didn't I make this point? Why didn't I, ask this question?
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens is that we react when we receive input, because we're like, boom, react. Someone cuts you off, we react. Someone says, oh, I don't think your fundamentals look great. You're like, no, you react, versus creating a space. So that's what meditation does. It creates a space between our conscious and our subconscious mind. So all of a sudden they say, oh, why do you relax, create presence? Why do you feel like, we don't have the fundamentals? And allow them to, so you still stay in command of the meeting.
Yeah.
So you have this space, and then you actually listen to them, versus, again, that's the difference. And I'll tell you one really quick thing. So there could be your listeners out there, and they're like, oh my God. And I was you. I was like the last person I ever thought, hard driving CEO, travel around the world, last person I ever thought would meditate. I'm like, I like to go and lift heavy objects and battle. I used to be a semi-professional fighter, and like the last person. But when we meditate, if we think we're bad meditators because we're going outside of our thoughts all the time, you are actually getting the best workout if you meditate. Because every time your thought goes out, you bring it back through your breath or through mantra. I especially like mantra-based meditation or breath work, whatever it may be. Every time you bring back the thought, is you're getting control over your thoughts. So if you go 1,000 times in a 10-minute period, to somewhere else, and you bring it back 1,000 times in those 10 minutes, you're working the muscle like a gym, like you're at the gym. And what happens when you go to the gym? The more you go, you know what? All of a sudden, you're using heavier weights, and you're more focused and everything else. So then all of a sudden you maybe it's 500 times. But this is the key. When you can start controlling your thoughts and you get into that meeting, like I said before, then you can take action with a mind that's not going to forget something, or is going to be, you're going to have an aura of presence. Mm-hmm. Because you're not going to leave the meeting saying, oh, I should have said this, I should have approached it this way, because you created space for you, so you're not emotionally involved in the meeting. You're the observer. Does that make sense?
100%. So you're not reacting to what people are saying. You're actually, say, creating that space and ultimately taking time to process, come out with what you need to, and just clarity in your voice and speaking. And as you say, confidence on the back of that as well.
Exactly. And then you actually silence.
Yeah.
Is the greatest power. And we forget that because we're always trying to prove ourselves. So we're in an environment that we're always proving ourselves. And there's a necessity for that also. But what we need to do is stand in our own power. And I'll especially say this. Do you mind if I go somewhere a little controversial?
Sure, let's try it. Let's do it.
Okay. Women will generally justify more than men. And I think too is because they feel a need to prove themselves. Maybe it's, again, a construct of our society, everything else. Google, for example, did for their engineers. If an engineer self-assessed themselves at a 5 out of 5 for skill, that was the minimum before he would go to the next, level of interviews. A woman, however, only had to go 3.5, because women tend to be a little more like feeling they have to prove themselves, feeling that because they're not. It's a different energy. It's a powerful, beautiful, amazing energy, but I find a lot of times that women feel like, again, they need to justify versus just being in their own power and realizing that they're not necessarily in a man's world, they're in their world. Yeah. Right. Does that make sense? I know I'm going
Fully,
really deep and kind of going
fully.
off.
No, fully makes sense. And it's sort of part of the imposter syndrome, I feel like has a little more it's I feel like everyone goes through the imposter syndrome, especially when they're founders or in that CEO level. But again, women kind of feel that pressure a little bit more than men. So it is, as you say, it's remembering you're in your own world, be in the present. It's yourself, it's no one else. Um,
Yeah.
I like that a lot. So when it comes to future selling, are you walk me through like who would you say is your ideal client? Like, who would you really, really love to work with? And then how is it you help and support them? Like, is this a platform? Is this more of a one-to-one kind of relationship, Scott?
Well, that's a great question. So I'm shifting right now from still working one-to-one, but I'm
Awesome.
actually just launching a school community. So the idea is my number one thing was if I could have my clients have a morning breath routine, short morning breath routine, and a mantra based. So use words. It's
Yeah.
powerful using vibration and words. It's easier to do because your mind goes less places also. But if I could only get them to do or have them do, I shouldn't get them to do, but if they only did that every day, and the clients that developed a morning practice or an evening practice, you could hear it in their voice. The next call with them, you could hear the confidence, you could hear the tone change. I'm speaking fairly quickly today, but however, generally the speed of their voice slows down. So they feel more present. And
Yeah.
again, that's what you want. It's for as a CEO, as an executive, you want to feel that presence. And then you just are just happier. We want to have a joyful life too. It's about being successful, making a difference, but also enjoying the
It
path.
is.
So what I'm launching in the next couple of weeks is live. So 3 times a day for New York, Chicago, and LA at 7 a.m. their time,
Sick.
22 minutes of breath work and meditation and any questions that they may have. So it's easy to follow. So come in, do the breath routine. And if you want more support, it's there for you. Does that make sense?
Fully, yeah. So it's live meditations, 7 a.m. is kind of the way forward from now on. I love
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
3 times a day. Yeah.
Nice. And then so we go through the morning process. And I suppose with that setup and with that routine in place, does that have, in terms of the mindset shift, how does that set up the rest of the day for the like for your clients and the CEOs that you're looking to help? Like how important is that piece?
It's crucial. As I said before, is I worked with a lot of executives, and then any of the executives that were able to create, but it's difficult. It's a
Mm,
difference, and that's why it's time to do it on your own. When you do it with someone, it's like an exercise class, but you're doing it on Zoom. You just feel the energy of the room, and really, when two or more people come together, there is energy. There's a
yeah.
vibration. And the idea is that because it's live, it's interactive, it's a lot more easy to keep, and there is no judgment accountability. So you have someone saying, "Hey, I missed you the last couple of days." Again,
Yeah.
it's a no judgment because I when I went through my addiction, I did some things that I'm really quite not proud of. And so who am I to judge? And I
Yeah.
think that's what we need is not only do we need a man to connect with another man to say, okay, you have a safe space, but I'm going to call you out on things too. I'm never going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to be honest with you. Oh, the community is actually just FYI, you know, I love the lady listeners that you have, I'm sure, but it's for men just
Yeah.
because I believe men need a safe space, and there's not many men
Fully.
out there that understand the executive, understand the masculine, and provides, kind of quote unquote spirituality or breath work, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it.
No, as you say, that the camaraderie that comes with the community, that added effect to it, have that tribe, you have accountability, you have motivation, you have people that aren't judging you, just a free space where you can vent and do what you need to do, and then obviously have that help and support at the same time, and just people that are in that similar situation, when you have fellow CEOs that are going through the same stuff, trying to build that same routine. It's nice to have that community aspect. But I am curious to find out how you go about acquiring your customers. So like in terms of like marketing, how do you go about making sure that you're going to fill this community and obviously find the right people to work with as well?
So for me, I'm going to step back for 1 second. I'm going to tell you that each of the breath routines have a different purpose.
Oh,
So one
super.
is to be in flow today. One thing is to clear your head. Other ways to wake up your creativity. Another thing is to build your aura, type of thing. So, and again, when you walk in the coffee shop in the morning, sometimes you feel like more people are looking at you in a positive way, sometimes less. So we do have this aura, we do have a presence, we do have a flow, but for we're so busy as founders and as
Yeah.
executives, is that we sometimes have a hard time keeping. We're staying in trust because we are against, believe me, I've been there, what, we've got payroll and we have to get that financing deal closed and everything else. So it's really is making sure that you're reset, you start your day in belief and trust, and you clear out all the things. So that's the main thing. So even if no one here ever joins my community, I still say do some breath work, learn some breath work. You know what? Reset yourself. It only takes a couple of minutes, even to make it a little bit of a difference. And I'm telling you, it's the best thing in the world you can do. Now, to go into reaching clients. So for myself is I'm launching 5-day paths. So 5-day path to breath work, 5-day path to meditation. So, and then also doing lives where we do,
Yeah.
pre-prep meeting. At the meeting, this is also why breathing through your nose is important. The pause, that whole thing about going through, because these are things my executives have asked me. And
Yeah.
it's interesting. And some of these are like a super successful lawyers that speak all day, and they're still saying they want more support because they're maybe not feeling fully heard in their meetings by their
Yeah.
senior executives at a big law firm. So those are the smartest people because they know that they don't know it all. Like all of
Yeah.
us, we all have our blind spots and everything else. And my thing as a CEO and as for other founders, the biggest lesson I had to learn is to say no. There's always a good reason to advertise on a new platform, to be multi-thing. But the two things, saying no, and we all probably follow Alex Hormozy, and also, so you talk about gathering leads and stuff, provide value. You know what?
Yeah.
Provide real value. Lead with value, lead with your heart, and that will attract the customers. And just stay in trust
Yeah.
that, what, you're doing the work, it'll come, but stay focused, keep it playing, add value to them, niche down, where needed,
Awesome.
and be consistent.
Yeah, again, Hormozy, be consistent, be there all the time. And value is the big key to that. And I like the fact that oh, I don't know if you do this every time, Scott, but I like the fact that when you do that, you went through the explanation of why we need to breathe in for our nose, go through it and explaining it. And I feel like going back to what you said at the top of the podcast, it's like what CEOs out there are going to be doing breath work. Like, who would look at me and think that? But the way that you explain it and the way that you go about it, it makes me understand how much it suits that world because you give that knowledge to it as well as to why we're doing this stuff, not just we're doing it because it's a bit woo and it makes us feel good. There's actually
Yeah.
scientific, logical reasons as to why we need to take this time and really apply ourselves. But yeah, very heavy on the knowledge. And then, so I suppose, like, what are your goals and like, what are your plans for this business, for future self? Do you have like an end vision in mind when you think about it?
My vision is to be world renowned, not to be famous, but to then knowing I'm impacting millions of people's lives.
Yeah.
You know what? I've gone through the journey. I've done the hard work. I've done the self work. Now it's time in my own humble way. And the thing is, I will tell founders this, never trust someone who says it's all my idea. Because whatever I'm teaching, sure, it's got a little me in it, but the reality is it's based in science. It's based
Yeah.
in ancient wisdom. You know what? I'm just the channel, right? And so a lot of you people out there too, a lot of your listeners, think of yourself as a channel. You're here, you've got an incredible opportunity to really channel ancient knowledge, to channel and stand on the shoulders of the people that came before us. And remember that you don't have to figure out everything. You know what? Trust that you have the knowledge, that the knowledge is there, and trust your intuition.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem, because a founder, as I'm talking to your audience, you all know this, it's the most frustrating world to be in because nothing is ever good enough. Your website's not good enough. Your marketing is not good enough. Your product's not good enough. So you're always living in not being enough, right? So that's the challenge, is breathing into that and accepting that, no, a lot of your stuff is going to be at 80% or 70%, and be good with that. And how many businesses do you deal with that are made Fortune 100 companies that annoy the heck out of you, or the product is missing this and that missing that? They still made it to Fortune 100. So again, it's about trust, and it's about staying present and just every day execute.
Amazing. I love it. And Scott, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your incredible journey and insight with us. Where can our listeners reach out best to work with you, connect with you, and just find out more about all the amazing work that you're doing?
Well, on LinkedIn at Scott Johnston. It's on the top, it's Scott Don Johnston, and or at futureselfing.me. So futureselfing.me.
Perfect. Amazing. And thank you again, futureselfing.me, to our listeners. Please go and check out Scott and all the amazing work that he's doing. And do not forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we went from $0 to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. But until then, keep on climbing, and we will see you on the next one.